Last weekend, I had the pleasure and the privilege of casting the action for UK Games Expo's Star Wars Unlimited events, and in this video, we'll be going over all of the decks that made it into the top 16 and one as well. And I'll tell you what, there are certainly some surprises in here for sure. My name is Ben Fitzpatrick. I'm a TCG caster, so that means I love talking about them. So let's do it just now. But before all of that, if you are new to the channel and if you enjoy this video as well, be sure to drop a like rating on it. Subscribe to the channel as well and turn on the notification bell so you do not miss a video. Speaking of missing videos, before we dive into the decks and everything that happened last weekend, I want to apologize for the lack of videos after the past couple of days. I've caught this kind of weird cough, cold, bug virus thing that's been going around. You can probably still hear it in my voice. I'm still not kind of like fully back to full fitness yet. I was even sort of coughing all over the place last weekend during the event, which was rough, but show must go on. We got through it, and hopefully I'm going to start sort of uploading a little bit more now that I've sort of recovered. I am now going to also start to try and aim for like 2 to 3 videos a week, maybe. I tried the whole daily upload thing last week, but because of how I work and obviously working through a week and then on the weekends as well with the events and casting and stuff like that, I don't have as much time as I would like to create constant videos for you guys. But maybe in the future, you never know. But for now, I think 2 to 3 videos a week while I still try and kind of like find my feet as well with the channel and where I want to go. And that kind of thing. But enough of that yap, enough of the admin out of the way. Let's talk Star Wars, and let's start off with exactly how this event actually ran and how this worked, because it was a little bit different to stuff that I've done beforehand. So the UK Games Expo, for those who don't know, is a massive board game and tabletop gaming convention, essentially, right? Where you have vendors, you have new demos and new things being shown off. A couple of years ago, Lorcana was shown off and demoed for one of the first times at UK Games Expo, and I've got one of the original pins from the Lorcana demo that I went and attended. I'll put a picture of it in the edit somewhere here on screen so you can see. But it's an incredible convention, 3-day-long convention, and what has happened in prior conventions and prior events is there have been isolated tournaments on all 3 days. There's a Friday event, there's a Saturday event, there's a Sunday event, right? This year, and this time around, it was a little bit different. So there were still some isolated tournaments, so Friday and Saturday had their own individual Swiss tournaments running on those days. But the twist is what happened on the Sunday. On the Sunday, the top 8 players of each of the individual events, so the top 8 players on Friday and the top 8 players on Saturday, went and played each other in a single elimination top 16 fight to the finish on Sunday. It was a really cool event. I'll put a link in the top of the description as well to the YouTube archive and the footage of Saturday and Sunday. Friday, unfortunately, wasn't restreamed to YouTube as well as Twitch, but I will put the Twitch link for organized player events who ran the event in the description as well, so that if you want to have a look and see what happened on Friday, I think the VOD is available to subscribers of the Twitch channel first, and then a couple of weeks later it then gets uploaded. But Saturday and Sunday was restreamed to YouTube as well, so they are just fully available to go ahead and watch. So let's have a look at the decks that made it and sort of talk about the general flow of the events. We're going to start in chronological order on Friday, which was a smaller event. You can see here only 115 players played on Friday, which I say only 115. That's still quite a lot of players to take part in a convention event where the round prize was some boxes of Jump to Light Speed, the playmat, the Porg playmat that was the convention exclusive, and a couple of other goodies as well. So it was only 7 rounds on Friday, and the 8 decks that made it, I can't quite get the full breakdowns, the meta representation and stuff like that. But there were some real surprises in terms of decks that made it and decks that did well. Number 1 seed on Friday was this Han Solo 2 Data Vault list, which is something we've been seeing pop up a lot more as of late. I'll try and... That's not going to help too much. Hopefully that'll kind of give you a general idea of what the deck looks like. Melee still got a little kinks to try and work out in terms of its visual representation of deck lists. But Han 2 Data Vault is something that has popped up and been popping up more frequently now, right? Since the Django meta has come to an end after Django got banned, the format is very, very wide open at the moment, which I think is absolutely fantastic. It's really great to see so many different leaders, so many different aspect combinations be potentially viable. But there are still a couple of those leaders and still a couple of those decks that are just that little step above. And Han 2 is one of those that has really emerged as that extra contender. Since it did well in the Lille regional qualifiers, which I was there for as well, fortunately enough, it has been popping up more and more and more. As has the Data Vault base as well, a 33 HP command base that forces you to start the game with a minimum 10 extra cards in your main deck. So as opposed to a minimum 50 card main deck, you go up to a minimum 60. But what a lot of people are realizing are two things. One, minimum 60 cards really isn't that bad, especially for 33 HP. And two, command is just a pretty good aspect. I mean, you've got some of these incredible cards here. Bright Hope, Home One, Echo-based Defender, Blue Leader from Jump to Lightspeed, one of the best cards to not be rare or legendary in Jump to Lightspeed, full stop. It's an incredible card, either a 3/3 for 3 or a 5/5 for 5 if you play it on the ground arena with Ambush, with its when played ability. It's just absolutely incredible. But it's a really, really great aspect, funnily enough. And so when you look at this list, judging on what most Han 2 lists have been looking like so far, there's not really too many surprises. Mace Windu is a little bit of a surprise. This card has been increased recently in playability and in representation, which is really, really cool. I love to see this card, like a forgotten legendary, get a second life breathed into it. Really, really nice. And of course, you can play it earlier with Han 2's leader ability. Carabast as well is a really cool event to come back. Confiscate in the main deck makes a lot of sense, and I think I spoke about this a couple of times in commentary over the weekend, that with a set that's been released where you've got so many upgrades in the set itself because you've got the pilot cards, having Confiscate in the main deck is starting to make a lot more sense as opposed to just chucking it in the sideboard and thinking, oh, okay, well, if I drop a game to a load of upgrade-related cards, let me side the Confiscates in. I really like having Confiscate in the main in the format right now. Besides from that, though, it's a lot of the similar kind of things that we're used to in Han 2 in general. Quinlan Voss, this is Quinlan Blue. However, Quinlan with Vigilance, because of the Remnant Science Facility, this is a little bit different, but you can see here, there's not really many Vigilance cards that are in the list. It gives you access to Village Protectors, gives you access to 7-drop Luke. Tranquility is a really interesting one. I don't think we even saw this this deck getting played. But Tranquility is a really interesting inclusion here. When played, you can return a Republic unit from a discard pile to your hand, and then on attack, each of the next 3 Republic cards cost 1 less. But how many Republic cards do you play? You got Plo Koon's back, which is quite nice, and the Outspoken Representative. But that's basically it in terms of Republic cards, and you're playing another one of them in the side deck here. This is a really interesting build. Like I say, I don't think we saw this at all throughout the weekend, so I'm just really getting a first glimpse at it now. Very, very interesting. Other decks that made it as well, Anakin with Data Vault Interesting to see Anakin getting piloted with Data Vault as opposed to Colossus to give you that extra leeway and the extra 5 HP stack potential to feed into the leader ability. Quinlan Tarkintown makes a lot of sense. Boba with Data Vault. This is Pilot Boba. And I know Thork, who was my co-caster for the weekend, is very, very passionate and very, very adamant that Data Vault is the best way to pair Pilot Boba with. I'm still not 100% convinced, and I wasn't quite brave enough to bring this up at the time. I'm still not 100% convinced that Pilot Boba Data Vault is the way to go, but that might be because I'm playing Pilot Boba with Cunning at the moment, the way most people have been trying to make Pilot Boba work, and I'm just going full aggro, full loads of indirect damage, deploy Pilot Boba into a Fet's Fire Spray, whether it's the new one or the older one, and just go face, essentially. But Dominic Kelly did very, very well, getting 5th in day 1, so making it into the final day on Sunday. Then we have John Bamford, who played Luke Skywalker pilot with Tarkintown. Another really, really cool combination that we've seen here with John's deck choice, and we saw him play this on stream. And there were a couple of cards in here that didn't even get the opportunity to see. Relentless Fire Spray as a 6 cost on attack, ready this unit, so you get 2 swings with it to be able to go in and try and close out a game. Armed to the Teeth, really, really cool upgrade. Aggression, obviously being able to get that for 4 resources as opposed to being forced to pay 6 for it. Really, really cool. I really, really like this deck. And of course, Tarkintown is a super, super strong base to be able to utilize as well. The Chaos of War was used in Game 2 of a feature match, if I remember correctly, because I remember Thork saying about he's going to use Chaos of War here to deal damage to each player's base equal to the number of cards in that player's hand. So you burn with Chaos of War. You've got your Luke ability as well to ping if you've attacked with a fighter. You've got Red 3, Red 5, Red Squadron, Y-Wing. You've got fighters out the wazoo here to be able to combine with that and try and close the game out. A really, really cool take on the leader. And then your last 2, not too many surprises here. Oliver Simon's Big O Notation here. Remember that name for later. Playing Ahantu Energy Conversion Lab. And then Kira Data Vault as the last one that made it through. So the top 8 players made it into Sunday. That was on day 1. That was on Friday. We had a second tournament on the Saturday, and this one a little bit bigger. 157 players, so we played a full 8 rounds of Swiss here. And this is where one of the other twists came into play. Because if you qualified on one of the days, you were still eligible to play in the other tournament. And that's exactly what Oliver Simons did, also known as Big O Notation. Remember, on Friday, he played Han 2 with Energy Conversion Lab. So on Saturday, he played something a little bit different and only got the number 1 seed on Saturday. He played Admiral Akbar with Data Vault and got the number 1 seed. He went undefeated 7-0-1 with this deck. So because he already qualified on Friday, he was then forced to play the deck that he finished higher with, which was Admiral Akbar Data Vault in the top 16. And this deck, I mean, when this deck worked, this deck worked. This was a really, really fun deck. Again, playing with Data Vault, so it had that 3 extra starting HP and 10 extra cards in the deck, but meant that he got access to these really, really cool command cards, not using any double aspect command cards here in the list as well, which makes sense because you're not getting the aspect pair, but still getting access to Bright Hope, Home One, U-Wing Reinforcement, which was great for him in the most of the game, so that we saw Wedge Antilles to help boost up your X-Wing tokens into 3/3s and give them ambush. Timely reinforcements as well to spit out a load of X-Wing tokens and give them Sentinel. This was a really, really out there, balls to the wall deck that worked really well for the most part. It sort of collapsed a little bit in his, I think it was top 4 in the semi-final feature match that we saw him play in. Just slightly collapsed a little bit, slightly fell apart. But when this deck worked, it worked. And it was really, really cool to see it in action. And I have to say it was one that I was very, very tempted to try and give a go myself and to try and play. But I know I would not do it the quality and caliber that Ollie Simons could. But again, congratulations to him for being able to do that. Other decks that made it through out of the top 8, Han 2 with Dagobah Swamp, Boba Fett Pilot again with Data Vault there, Piet Aggression, this is the capital ship cheating Piet, so getting access to stuff like Ruthless Raider, like 8-cost Devastator, Force Choke here. Makes sense to pair it with Aggression, the one that obviously did very, very well in the Italian sector qualifier was Piet with Cunning. That did really, really well. Got all the way up to the semi-finals. But Piet with Aggression, obviously you get so many great tools in terms of the actual capital ships. And you get Planetary Bombardment as well for 6. So you're controlling capital ships pretty much at any time in the game when you get to that point. Deal that 12 indirect damage and force your opponent to make some really, really awkward decisions and maths. Really, really cool. And playing the Invisible Hand as well. Didn't get to see that get played down, but essentially it lets you search out droid units when played and when the unit goes ahead and completes an attack. And you're playing the series officer here as well, which deals 2 to base when it is defeated. And of course, Invisible Hand is a capital ship, so you get to play that for 5 with Piet's ability before he gets deployed, or potentially even for 4 by the time that Piet is out on his leader unit side in the ground arena. So really, really cool take on Admiral Piet, and one when you see the cards and see the units that it gives you access to, certainly makes a lot of sense. Next up, we've got Josh Freeman Birch, Yao Serra on Kira Data Vault, the deck that won in the Minneapolis regional qualifier over in America. Makes a lot of sense, but it being Josh Freeman Birch, he put a couple of his own little spins on the deck. First and foremost, Count Dooku at 3. We've not seen that in quite a long time, just coming in as a 5/4 shielded unit that pops a unit as well when it is played. Very, very interesting call. Reinforcement Walkers, of course, makes sense. 1 Salacious Crumb. We know that Josh Freeman Birch, if you've watched the UK scene for Star Wars Unlimited for a long time, he loves his Salacious Crumbs. He's been playing those since his days of Boba Fett 1 with the 30 HP Cunning base, command base, sorry. He loves that card. Other stuff in here, Vigilance, of course, makes a lot of sense. Patrolling V-Wing, again, early card draw, an affinity for that card, has got history playing it. Onyx Squadron Brute as well, a really, really cool extra little inclusion. And then in the sideboards, double Super Laser in the sideboard was a very, very bold choice. But I suppose when you're not going for that sort of hard control of, if you get to this point in the game and I need to hit a reset button, I want it there immediately. It's more kind of softer control with Kira. Relentless is in the sideboard, 3 of the 10-cost Devastators, as well as Palpatine's returns as well. Again, really, really, really solid list, and a great little bit of ingenuity, as we would come to expect. Speaking of ingenuity, this is where we come towards the 6th and 7th place finishes on Saturday, because these were some really, really cool decks. Obi-Wan Kenobi with Powell City, so one of the rare bases from Twilight of the Republic, and a rare Vigilance base as well. So we're mono aspect here being shared with Obi-Wan Kenobi. And the ability of the Powell City gives your leader unit, when it's deployed, +1 health. Which, when you think about it, actually makes a lot of sense, because Obi-Wan is a Sentinel leader unit. So you want to try and keep him around on the board as long as possible. But what it also does is it gives you access to some really cool double aspect cards for their printed costs. So we've got Vigilance's on 4 resources, first and foremost. Great idea. But then we've got some of the more weird and out there choices. Hondo Onaka, which on attack can move pilot upgrades to other units. You can take control of a non-pilot upgrade on a unit and attach it to a different eligible unit. So what he would do here for the most part, and I'm just double checking his actual name, Alan. What Alan would do here with Hondo Onaka on board is he would either move the shield over to other units, say like Regional Governor or Queel or something like that, something you wanted to protect, Kashyyyk Defender, if that had taken a few bits of damage, gotten those grit stacks on board, and then go ahead and protect it. Or he'd move an Electro Staff over, and particularly move it onto or from his Obi-Wan leader unit, and just make it an absolute rock if it stayed on the board. It was a really, really cool card that got played on the board in pretty much most of his games as well. If you want to see them, again, I'll urge you, link below to the archive footage of Saturday and Sunday from these tournaments from organized play events. Also, some other cool cards here. Midnight Repairs, healing 8 total damage from any number of units. We saw that get played on board. Equalize as well. And then just your general typical Obi-Wan core. Apart from the Zillow Beast, which got played and then I think promptly got Felva Dragoned in response, which was a real shame that we didn't get to see this stick around for a prolonged period of time. But this was a really, really cool take on Obi-Wan Kenobi, and one I'm really glad did very, very well on Saturday and then into Sunday as well. We also had this Yoda deck as well. Command Yoda, which makes a lot of sense. You tend to see Command getting paired with Vigilance and Heroism a lot. But here, not too much on the face of it that's kind of out there or weird. More just the fact that Yoda made a top 16. That's really, really out of the ordinary, and one I'm really, really, again, happy to see and continue to hammer this point home. And we hammered this point home on multiple occasions, myself and Thork in commentary, is that we were really, really happy to see how varied the format is and was throughout this whole weekend, and that leaders like this had a real chance to shine. We also had You're My Only Hope, which I'm pretty sure it was this deck that had the incredible hits off of You Are My Only Hope, or it might have been Ollie Simons on Akbar Data Vault that hit really nicely off You're My Only Hope. But really, really fun. A really, really fun deck. And again, not too many surprises here. It's just kind of good Vigilance, Command, Heroism stuff, really, for the most part. The one Rex in the side deck is definitely very, very different here. Captain Rex lead by example to get 2 Clone Trooper tokens. But apart from that, really, really cool and really, really nice to see. And then the final deck that made it in, at least on face value, was Han 2 with Data Vault. Makes a lot of sense. So, in this situation here, and going into Sunday, we had one player, of course, that had already made their place here, and we had a second player that had also already booked their spot into day 2 already in one of the other tournaments. So what that meant is that the invite and the placement got passed down to the next available player. So in this situation, Oliver's invite here in day 1, because he finished higher in day 2, got passed down to Cam Walker, who was playing Pilot Vader Cunning. Very, very accomplished on Pilot Vader Cunning as well. I think he made top cut in the Liverpool sector qualifier as well. Had a chance to speak to him just at the end of his top 32 matchup, where he unfortunately lost, and he said that of all the matchups that he wanted to run into in top 32, that was the one that he didn't want to run into. Lovely guy. If you're watching, Cam, hello and congratulations on your finish again here. And then another Pilot Vader also made it in from the movement down, but this was Pilot Vader with Vigilance here, which is a really, really interesting and different take on Pilot Vader. What you typically imagine from Pilot Vader is, I'm just going to go full sort of aggressive, make a load of tokens and things like that. Annoyingly, the visual view isn't being generated on Melee. And you're still kind of getting that here. You still got your Kijimi Patrollers, you still got your First Order TIE, you've still got your Clone Combat Squadron as your big kind of finishing sweeper. But here, you've got cards like Iden Versio, which can come in either as a pilot onto that maybe Clone Combat Squadron, or just come in and give you a little bit of longevity on the ground. We've also got Vader in here, 7-cost Vader, which is really, really different. You tend to see very few ground units being played in these decks, absolutely. But 7-cost Vader is not among them. You've also got Rivals Fall here and Takedown. Choose sides in the main deck. This is a very mid-rangey kind of approach to Pilot Vader here. And of course Inferno 4 as well for early game sort of draw fixing as well. I'm very, very sad we didn't get to see this deck in action itself. And I'd love to have a chat with Silk, who is the one who put this deck together and brought this, played it on both days. Day 1, just missed out on 10th with an X2 record, and then day 2, possibly would have missed out on the X1 record, but with someone else making it the day before, his invite gets bumped down, so he manages to make it and make a clean cut for 19 match points getting in. So really, really happy that he made it, again, to show off another really, really different deck. So that means we had 16 players looking to try and battle it out to become the UK Games Expo champion for the weekend. And apologies in advance here that the deck lists don't show up on the Sunday event here. Really, really annoying, slightly frustrating, absolutely. But, you know, we can sort of cross-reference from these 2 days here what they were playing. And ultimately, it came down to a final of Josh Freeman Birch, one of the, if not the best player in the UK, taking the event by 2-1 up against Buckernerd, who was playing the Yoda deck. No, he wasn't playing the Yoda deck. He was playing Quinlan Tarkentown. So he was the one whose invite got bumped down here in day 1 in the sort of the match. So it was Quinlan Tarkentown, a very typical deck that you would have expected to get through against Kira Datavault, one of the slightly newer kids on the block, winning the most recent regional qualifier. Maybe doesn't quite allow you to be categorized as that, but either way, Josh Freeman Birch adding yet another event win to his name on his Kira Datavault list. So really, really massive congratulations to Josh. It was a great best of 3 set. There were some really, really great sets across Sunday as well. So I urge you again, if you haven't watched it or you want to have a look at it and see Josh Freeman Birch's win, the link will be in the description below to the video and to Organized Play Events' YouTube channel as well. But a fantastic event, a fantastic weekend, and really just another fantastic advertisement for Star Wars Unlimited as a game on the whole. I have been hyped and I was really, really excited for Star Wars Unlimited to come out as soon as it got announced. Got announced right after Disney Lorcana did, and I remember the post that I made on my socials over on X saying, God help my wallet, with Lorcana and Star Wars Unlimited coming out at pretty much the same time. But thankfully, Star Wars Unlimited has been an incredible game. The meta is in one of the greatest places I think that it has ever been in the history of the game so far. And we've got a new set coming out next month in Legends of the Force that you bet I will be covering. I'll be doing a video very, very soon on some of the different leaders that are going to be coming out in that set. So make sure that you do not miss those uploads. And of course, when all of the legendaries and the rest of the full card list and stuff is revealed, I'll be going through those and hopefully covering more of the game as the game continues to flourish. But with that, it is over to you. What do you think of the Star Wars Unlimited UK Games Expo weekend results. Have you tried any of these wacky decks in the wake of the event as well? And I want to know what decks that you're looking to pilot for some of the other store showdowns that are coming up as well. I'm going to see if I can try and get myself to one, and if some of the last ones that are yet to be held at the time of recording this. You can see there the date in the bottom right hand corner, the 4th of June. So there's still a couple of store showdowns that are yet to be held so far. What decks are you looking to pilot for those? And then maybe what are you looking at in the Legends of the Force format, and potentially, if you're going, the Galactic Championship as well. That is going to do it then for this video. I hope that you have enjoyed. If you have, please drop a like rating on it and subscribe to the channel as well so that you do not miss out on any more Star Wars Unlimited content. As I say, I'm going to try and continue to be a little bit more consistent with uploads in the near future. Try and aim for around about 2 to 3 videos a week. With sort of other things that are going on, that seems to be probably the best sort of middle ground, and then supplement that with some short form content as well, probably dotted around here and there. But with all that said and done, that is going to do it for the end of this video. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.